Can you hear me? Can you hear me in Germany?
We hear you. Thank you. And we see
Okay,
you.
good.
And we see your presentation. Great
Good
title.
work. Yeah, our sky has no limit yet. There's a bit of marketing in there. Actually, it has a limit, the tropopause. So I'm Michel Cordeau. I'm from the Center of Excellence in Alma, one of the two test centers approved by Transport Canada. And I said Transport Canada, but not Canada, also in the military also. So a lot of people approved this center. Mixed military. I'm also a mixed pilot, so I'm coming from the aviation world for the last 30-some years. So the short presentation I got here, which I'll try to stay inside the 15 minutes. Usually I have a tendency to go over. So I'll present the Center of Excellence, the Cluster of Excellence, which is also new, the structure of the drone committee and the latest drone activity, and the aerospace innovation, which will be the forum in 2018. So the Center of Excellence, I'll turn this a little bit. It's actually I'll tell you the story. You can actually read the slide. The story about the Center of Excellence started in 2008 with the mayor of today, which was the city councilor. The airport in Alma was not used by aviation that much, and he was the president of the airport as a city councilor. So he had an idea of starting drones, having drones on the airport. He's not a pilot, he just loves aviation. And in 2011, the project got started when he got elected as a mayor. So he hired the general manager, which is Mark Moffat, which is still there today. And they started to build the airspace and trying to figure out how they're going to do this and trying to attract businesses and operators and businesses that could come and tie up to the center. So basically, the center is it's there to develop expertise. We offer building, airspace, staff, professional staff, which are, as for example, RSOs, race safety officer. Our customers that come and test the aircraft. There's something I want to clarify. We don't test the aircraft. We supply the airport. We supply the airspace, restricted airspace, and they come and test our system. So we offer a range of different services. We offer places, and we have shops that we can workshops where they can do R&Ds. We actually we have a few companies that are startup that are working closely with us, and the CIDAL, which is the innovation sector in Alma. Members, lots of members. We have over 20-some members, and a few more coming up before the end of the year. They come from different field. Some in education, CQFA, UCAC. Some are operators, some are government. Some are actually like micro drones that are building drones. The site itself is probably what's the most interesting. There's a brand new building which is 3 years old. It was built for drones. When we talk about drones, we're not just talking about smaller drones, small quadcopter type of drones, but it was built for Reaper type of drones, like 60-foot wing and larger. One of the reasons is the Air Force Base just beside it, and eventually, in the next 10 years, 20 years, we don't know, eventually they're going to get some drones, some larger UAVs, and we are planning to, they were planning at the beginning when they built that building to give training to the military. We do have a ground control station. You've probably seen, so for people that are not familiar with ground control station, I like to refer to movies, military movies, that you see guys, pilots in the container. There's a pilot, and beside there's an operator, payload operator we call. Our ground control station is basically the same, but it's on wheel. So we have a place one operator and a pilot, 25-foot antenna on top of it, and it's completely autonomous, so we don't need power from anywhere. It's solar powered. The runway itself is 5,000 feet by 100 feet wide asphalt. The building the building itself, the hangar itself, can fit 3 Reaper. Reaper is a 60-foot wing, so it can fit three big drones. On top, on the second floor, we have offices. Offices for people that are coming either to do some work on their drones. Some of them are there permanently. We have a conference room, of course, and we do have a planning room. So planning room is every time that we have a customer that comes in for training or testing their drone, they go into that room, and the RSO, the range safety officer, is with them, and they explain what's going on during that day, the way that's going to happen. The customer is never alone in Alma. So the RSO is one of the commercial pilots that works for the airport that's there with the customer to make sure that nobody gets into our airspace. So we have the control area, which is about 1,200 feet, which is controlled by Bagotville, just very close, like 40 kilometers away. So the Air Force Base control a part of our airspace above 1,200 feet. And everything below, they're supposed to be VFR, or if they're not talking to Bagotville, they actually can see them. So the RSO make sure that they're not getting into the airspace. It did happen a few times last summer. People are not watching, or they're not reading NOTAMs. Not very interesting to read, but they're not reading them. So, and they get into the airspace while drones are flying. For that, there's a bunch of rules that we put together in our SOPs, that if a drone is airborne and we do have an aircraft coming in, the drone will either go away 500 nautical miles away or land. Most of the time when we use that rule is when we do have medevacs coming in. We have medevacs that come in, because we actually close the airport when we do have operation on the site. Airspace. So some of the people that come and do some testing are doing testing VLOS, so visual line of sight, and some are doing BVLOS, beyond visual line of sight. If we get all our airspace together with Bagotville, because we have a deal with Bagotville that we can use their airspace also. If we put all our airspace together, we cover 1/5 the size of France, all the way to 31,000 feet, from the surface to 31,000 feet. We're the largest one in America for the airspace. Now I'm talking about restricted airspace, so we can block them with NOTAMs, just to make sure nobody comes in. As you see, there's a large airspace here on the bottom, the blue one. This one is actually made for the larger drones, like the Reaper or the Flyox, for example, one that's coming fairly soon. The other ones, the other airspace, you can see the Lac Saint-Jean here. It covers pretty well close to half the lake. The airport is right inside that dotted circle. We do have an airspace here where people can shuttle up to 12,500 feet, and then they can come and play into this area as in the BVLOS. Last summer, we had a few operations. One of them was with Transport Canada, and they actually flown over 150 kilometers at 10,000 feet in BVLOS, flying into the restricted airspace. What else do we got here? People are always asking what did you build, or why do you have a test site in Alma? Well, you can't have a test site in Montreal. For obvious reason, traffic and population. You don't want to have a drone that are testing and crashing on people's house. And you don't want to have them to conflict also with air traffic, like we've seen recently in Quebec City. So most of test sites are away from town. Like the one in Foremost, Alberta is the same. It's away from town, so away from the traffic. One large advantage that we have here with Alma is Bagotville. Even if some of these systems don't have sense and avoid, when they climb up into our airspace, Bagotville controls them above 1,200 feet, so they can call the traffic. Of course, we block the airspace, so nobody should be in there, but if someone's in there, Bagotville can help. Something that's new also, it's we haven't tried yet, but I guess Monsieur Guimond will be waiting for this one to happen soon, is to transit from these airspace, the one close to the airport, to the large airspace, which will be a first, going from a military control to civilian control area. This is where we're gonna be, we'll probably be trying this next summer. The cluster, I'll try to finish this up. The Quebec government came up last year with a plan to have a cluster, drone cluster. And Alma in the Quebec strategy was mentioned to be the group that will be putting the cluster together. So last June, the documents were sent to the government of Quebec, and we are waiting for the answer, which should be coming like fairly soon. That cluster will be used for R&D and tying up universities with companies, with colleges, and working different type of projects. So there'll be funding there available. Quebec government gave us $1 million for 5 years to put the cluster together, and this is already started. Also, maybe I'll finish with this one. We're trying to establish, we're establishing a pre-qualification site. This site is fairly interesting. It's something that there's only one place in America that has this, is in Texas. Actually, the site will be set up with 10 different scenarios. One scenario would be hydroelectrics, power lines. One would be accidents, road accidents. Some would be forest fires. And the idea is pre-qualified systems before they get into, for example, into the real world. For example, the Sûreté du Québec or RPP could come and test or get tested contractors, and if their contractor passes the pre-qualification, they'll get a sort of certificate and saying, okay, these guys can do it. Like this, it will save a lot of time and money and having people that not supposed to be flying the drones in different scenarios up in the air. And pre-qualification site will be also used for training. Operation site. What happened on the site this summer? We had macro drones that came, did some BVLOS flight. The Sea Hunter came with Transport Canada. Miss Cam was there with CAE, well, left 2 years ago, but it was there with CAE and an Israel company. Flyups come from Singular. They have a 45 wingspan amphibious drone with 700 horsepower that could take 1.5 metric ton of water. Will be coming during the Christmas holidays. So the aircraft will be coming from Spain to get do some testing. So they'll be testing all kinds of stuff, like for water bombing, to spraying, to surveying, and so they could use water in there, or they could use all kinds of liquids or cargo. So these guys are coming with that 8,000-pound drone in the next, and I'll be there for a year or two. ICATS, maybe I'll finish with this one. ICATS was, someone was mentioning earlier, maybe you guys should get together, the test site. ICATS was founded by Mark Moffat and Alma, and it's a consortium of test sites in the world. So we have a few test sites, some in France, Spain, UK. We got Korea that wants to join in. South Korea, of course, not North Korea, and some African country, and Denmark wants to join in. So what it does is ICATS actually we're talking to each other. So if we can't supply the environment for a company, somebody else could supply it. I put too much slides.
Yeah, and your time is getting out.
Yeah, okay, I'm done. I'm done. You can come and ask questions if you want later on what I missed there.
Thank you very much. Sorry to interrupt. And go back to your... Stay where you are. Stay where you are. Michel, please stay with us at the part. I didn't want to make you run away because there's no time for questions from the audience. Michel, could you come back to the pult for questions? Thank you.
Yeah.
And we, first of all, are there questions from the audience? Because you will not be on the podium. What the others didn't see now, because you skipped it on your last slide, and so that I was the reason to skip it, but still I want to know, you write about disruptive. And since you do so much testing, how much do you think the whole UAV business is really a disruptive industry technology?
You mean disruptive as for the public?
Yeah, you talked about disruptive and changing the whole picture of using transportation and all of that.
Okay. What we see with Alma with the test site, it's a little bit what's happening also in the industry, or how people see the industry of drones. We need to do a lot of education, even if the city is behind the test site. We do often meetings and educate people and what's going to happen and how it's going to happen, and because we got all kinds of, for an example, we got all kinds of people we're calling say that we had a drone flying at midnight. No, it was an airplane. Same thing in the if you go outside the test site, people don't really understand what's going on. The industry, I'm trying to find the word for it. The people that are the large company like Rio Tinto that are hiring drones or companies like that don't really know what to look for in the industry. It's moving like really fast right now. We got all kinds of players to get into that game, and we're sort of happy that Transport Canada is putting is going to come up with permits and going to roll it up a little bit. But we need a lot of education to get the public and the companies to understand what's going on with drones and what they do. Actually, what they do. They're not all toys.
Thank you, Christina. Do you see any other questions in Montreal?
We do have lights coming from the ceiling, so that should work.
Okay.
No questions.
We have developed a new mic model. The mics are coming down now from the soil, ceiling. Okay, please start away because we only see now Michel, but I trust in you that you will get the question.
No questions, Alex.
No questions. Okay, then thank you very much, Michel, and we shall proceed here in Berlin.